Do you want another lecture about how riding around on a silly bike with no seat is going to make you a better road rider? Well, if you do, tough. I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it again. Every time a trials bike rolls out into more mainstream motorcycling media, it's hours and hours of, oh, it's going to improve your clutch control and, oh, your balance will get better and good. Fantastic. I think we're missing the point here. These things are flipping good fun. And forget sections, forget riding around without putting your foot down, playing ground is lava, all that stuff is absolutely fine. But the bottom line is these are one of the most fun ways to spend an hour or an afternoon or an entire day on a motorcycle. And that is why you should pay attention to some trials bikes.
Alright, hold on, let's look at this thing.
You right?
Come on, guys!
Now, these ones are made by GASGAS. If you'll remember last year, we did a little video with GASGAS, kind of relaunching the brand. They've been bought out by the Pierre and Mobility Group, which, for those who don't know, is basically KTM, Husqvarna, and a few other companies. What does that mean for GASGAS? Well, trials bikes are, with the exception of the Honda, generally kind of niche companies. They're small brands, small factories, and there's a joy to that. There's a joy to these beautiful handmade bikes, and the level of kind of detail and componentry you get on something that's under 10 grand is actually pretty special. This purchase hasn't changed that for GASGAS. We've been to see the new factory. The bikes are actually still built by hand by 4 different stations. The bike spends half an hour on each station. It's a very personal, very hand-built. You know, we got to be told the names of each of the people that does each section of the bike. It's a hand-built bike. But alongside that kind of oldie-worldy craftsmanship, you've got this huge purchasing power and strict quality control systems that have come in from KTM that has now meant that these hand-built bikes are kind of reaching the same level of quality and the same level of consistency that you'd expect on a mass-produced motorcycle from any of the big manufacturers. And I think for trials world, that's very exciting. And for those of us who are kind of not already fully in the trials world and want to come into it, it means that we can buy a bike and expect the same sort of reliability and finish that we would if we went into a showroom and bought a Japanese road bike. And that, hopefully, should mean more of us are mucking around on these little things. So I want to tell you why exactly having one of these is going to make your life better. Step one, you can play on them in a very small amount of space. Obviously, they can be made road legal. They're terrible for riding to work on. But if you've got a little bit of a yard, a little bit of a garden, you know someone with an industrial unit with a few pallets out the back, you literally need 4 car parking spaces and you can have hours of fun getting better as part of the process, but mucking around with your mates, riding trials bikes. 1 pallet can entertain you for a year if you want. And that, for me, is what they're all about. I don't care about being world champion this and not putting my feet down that. I don't really care too much about whether it's going to make my road riding better or not. I want to go and ride a bike and have fun. And these new GASGASes are a brilliant way to do that. Now, without going fully nerdy, I'm not going to lie. I could not tell you the intricate details between this GASGAS TXT Racing 300 and the last one and the Scorpa or the Shirka or all the others. That's left to the full trials nerds. Check those guys out if that's your bag. What I can tell you is there's a few really nice features on this that make owning it and using it a lot better. Number one is some of the technology used to make them serviceable. 1 bolt takes the whole rear mudguard off and a couple of poppers. Air filter is quick release air filter just on 1 pin. Now, again, from road bike world, who cares? But with a bike like this, you do need to change and service the air filter more regularly, so making that easy is a big bonus. Likewise, foot pegs. Foot pegs have got a 1 bolt and clip system, so if you need to change your foot peg because you've broken one off, getting over enthusiastic, super simple, 1 clip, 1 pin. That attention to detail shows that GASGAS are really thinking about the riders and how they're going to use them. They're not just focusing on those guys that are winning world championships and how to help them win more of them. One thing I will say is I did actually ride last year's GASGAS 300, the one that Neil went and did the Scottish 6-day trial on. I found that for me as a sort of average-ish, okay trials rider, I found that quite hard work. It was quite snappy, quite aggressive, and I didn't build confidence on it straight away. I will say, this new generation, I felt very confident on from the word go, particularly going up steep climbs, doing a little bit of back wheel work, and then doing turns across undulating rocks and holes. I felt a lot better on this bike than I did on the last one. I'm going to save you the lectures about how to make your riding better, how to improve your clutch control. If, like me, you like having fun on motorcycles, go and buy a trials bike. If you're trying to decide which one, I'm going to say that right now, with the might of KTM and those big Piera Mobility Group controls behind them, the GASGAS is a better bet than it's ever been before. At £7.5 grand, it's an expensive toy. But hey, if you don't spend that money on motorbikes, you'd only waste it.
Hey, Maria, this is what Tanya handed me. I don't know. You all right? Are you all right?
No, he's not all right.
Okay, then.